Good morning, thank you for joining me. Today we are going to be talking about wearing colour on our eyes as we get older, and I think it's really easy to get into a rut of those. Not that there's anything wrong at all with wearing neutral colours and colours that we're more at home with and that we're used to, and just I love wearing neutral looks. I think they're really flattering. I think they're easy. I've got lots of easy go-to neutral eye looks that I can do without even thinking about it. But I also love colour, and I think as we get older we feel less confident about using bright colours on our eyes, and particularly when spring and summer come, I want to embrace all the colour and experiment a little bit and wear something a little bit different that feels more in keeping with the season. So today I'm going to take you through how I do 3 different eye looks with 3 different colours, and I do want to say I'm no makeup artist. Everything I know about makeup I've pretty much learned from YouTube over the last 10 years, and hurrah for YouTube, that's all I can say, because I love the fact that I can now put makeup on, or particularly eye makeup, in a manner that I feel happy with, so that's great. But yeah, I certainly wouldn't call this a tutorial in any way. I don't think I could teach anybody anything, or I wouldn't like to think of myself as someone who could teach anybody anything, certainly not a tutorial. But I just wanted to share with you ways that I incorporate using bright colours on my eyes in my 50s, and I've waffled enough. Let's go and look at how I do it. Thanks for watching. Good morning. The first look I want to do for this video is a really simple, easy look. I'm struggling with the light. Let me see if I turn you that way. I've got more even light, I think. I've had to shut the blind because we've got, oh no, you've got a load of mess behind you. Never mind. I'm going to start off with a really simple look. You literally need 4 different things, which doesn't sound that simple maybe for people who don't use lots of eyeliner or eye makeup, but yeah, for me this is a really simple, but it's easy rather than simple perhaps. Anyone could do it with no practice whatsoever, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And it's a look with bright blue in it. Now, bright blue reminds us of the 70s, doesn't it? But whenever I do this look, which is a look that I do when I want a bit of colour, spring and summer mostly, and I always get compliments when I film with this look on my eyes. I always get compliments about my eye makeup, which is obviously very nice. So I thought I would share with you how I do it. I am going to start by zooming you right in like this. Hopefully the light will adjust. Let's move you around like that. That's quite scary, isn't it? Right, I've done all my other makeup, as you can see. My face is on, as they say, and we're going to start with a mid-brown. This is just, I'm not going to recommend brands particularly for this look anyway. These are just, you could use any sort of mid-brown, mid-tone eyeshadow. This happens to be a Makeup Obsession one, and yeah, it's literally a couple of shades darker than my eye colour. And I'm going to start with a roundish brush like that. This is a Zoeva brush. It's a fine eye blender. Looks like that, a little bit pointed at the top, quite dense. And I'm just going to swirl that into the product. Blow it off. I know you shouldn't blow it off, but I just do. I'm too old to change now. God, it's hard to do it in the viewfinder. I'm going to just look down there to do it. And I go in just, my eyes are quite deep set and not a little bit hooded, so I'd like to do what they call the liner in the crease, a little bit above my crease. I sort of go into the crease and drag it up a little bit. This is just really to get some definition into the shape of your eyes, not for the colour particularly. It's just really to get a little bit of definition into the shape. So I'll go in like that, and then same on the other eye. One of the things that is a real trial as we get older is loose skin around our eyes, so the softer the brush, the easier it is to move the colour about. So when you're looking for brushes, always go for as soft as you possibly can and use a really light touch, because you don't want to be dragging your skin back and forward. It's about moving the colour around rather than dragging the skin. The joys of getting old, huh? So that's what that looks like now, and then I'm going to take just a fluffier brush which looks like that, Again, less dense than the other one, but fluffy. And I'm just gonna blend that sort of upwards a little bit so it looks, so it's just all about shading really, rather than you know, having any harsh lines. And I can see a bit of a line in there, which I don't want to be a line. I want that just to be very gradual shading, not really noticeable, if you like. So there we are. So you can just see that does sort of frame my eyes and give them a little bit of shape. Right, next we are going to go in with a bright colour for the lid. This is a bright shimmery sort of blondie colour. This is a Makeup Revolution colour that I've had for years and years and years. That's what it looks like. So any sort of bright, pale, champagne-y, shimmery colour. The purpose of this is just to brighten up and open up our eyes as we get older. The pale, they say don't use shimmer as you get older. I'm using this, which is a flat shader brush. It's I've had these brushes so long. This is a Sigma E something or other, E57. Great brush this is for laying down shadow. And I'm just going to put that all over my lid. Really nice for brightening up, opening your eyes up, giving you that wide awake, sort of nice fresh look. See how different, I mean, I know that eye's more in the light, but see how wide awake and open that eye looks with that on, as opposed to this one, which I haven't done yet. Next thing we're going to go in with is a blue, nice bright blue eye pencil. And I'm basically going to use this to line all the way along the bottom lid and all the way along the top lid on both eyes. I couldn't tell you what brand this pencil is. I've had this for years. I couldn't tell you what brand it is, unfortunately, because it has rubbed off. But basically, any soft, brightly coloured blue pencil. It's always difficult to do the top bit of my eyelid because crepey eyelids as we get older. So take your time. Doesn't matter if it's not a perfect line. And there's that one done, and I just go in and do the other. I am never as good doing my right eye as I am with my left eye, so there will be a bit of cleaner. I don't know if you can see on the top lid there, I've gone up a little bit. Just for some reason I'm left-handed, but yeah, hopeless with that. Finally, in this look, I'm going to go for a bright blue eyeshadow. Any of these will do, but I like a shimmery one. Any of these blue ones will do. I like a shimmery one, so I tend to go for either this one or that one there, which pretty much matches the eye pencil actually. And I'm just going to get a very stumpy brush that looks like that. I think this is a Makeup Revolution brush, and just dip the tip of that brush. The shorter the brush, the more control you'll have over it when you come onto your eye. I've got another one that I used to use that has a taller. See the comparison between the two. The taller one doesn't have as much control. The one that has the least amount of bristles, it has far more control for me. Definitely make sure you tap or blow your brush at this point, because you don't want to be getting green eyeshadow all down your face, and you're just going to go over those lines that you've already made with this brush, and this just sets them, and I find that this will stay in place all day. I should say that I do recommend an eye primer, although having said that, I've not been using an eye primer. I've always used an eye primer up till this year, and I've got into the habit of just using my concealer and then powdering over it, and that works just as well for me. So either concealer and powder or an eye primer will make your eye makeup last so much longer than it will without, so highly recommend that. You don't need an expensive eye primer. I use this Makeup Revolution Focus and Fix, which is dirt cheap. I'll link it in the description box below for you, in case you want to go and look at that. but that works just as well as any expensive ones that I've tried. Right, that's the finished look, and you can see that final layer of shadow just going over has not only set the eyeliner but really brightened it up as well. That's why I like to use a shimmery one. I think it's very bright, and this, in case you're interested, is the I Love Revolution Mermaid Heart palette. I don't know if it's still available. If it is, I'll link it. But I absolutely love this look. I think it's so pretty. Right, finally, I won't do this on camera, but I'm going to just go in above my lash line. Actually, I will do it on camera today because it's the first that I'm using a tiny angled brush like that, and I'm going in with just a black powder eyeshadow or a very dark brown, whichever, and I do this little trick of just lining, tight lining they call it, right into my lash line but underneath, and I just think that gives so much more definition to my aging eyes. Because it's all about definition as we get older, isn't it? Stopping everything sagging and moving and looking all a bit meh. This takes a bit of getting used to, by the way. When you first try and do this, it will make your eyes water, but if you persevere, you do get used to it, and I think it's worth persevering. Right, that's that done. You can see a difference in that as well. I'm going to put my mascara on and then I'll come back and show you the final look. And here's the finished look. Don't know how well you can see it, hopefully quite well. It's very difficult for me to close your eyes and see my eyes. I always want to see what you're seeing when I close my eyes. But obviously that's not possible. But yeah, that's look number one. I hope you liked it, and I'll be back for another one any minute now. Good morning. I've had a bit of a blusher problem this morning. I think I've rescued it, although in this light it's not looking particularly well rescued. Anyway, that's another story. And today we're going to do some brightly coloured eyeshadow. We are going to do some green and some purpley pink. And I've only experimented with this once before, so it might end up being an absolute disaster. But never mind. Let's see how we get on. Let me zoom you in. So scary. And we're going to start the same as we did yesterday, with the same mid-brown crease colour, the same brush, and just get that definition started off in the crease of my eye. Right, that's that done. I think you need to go out just a little bit. Just exactly the same as yesterday. I put the colour on and then I blended it with a big fluffy brush. And next I am going to use something from the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. But again, you don't need specific palettes. I'm just going to go across my mobile eyelid with a very, actually probably this one here, this neutral pale colour, just to get the whole eyelid covered a little bit in a shade lighter than it actually is at the moment. So these are very creamy colours, so they definitely need tapping off. Right, so that's that. That's sort of the scaffolding for today's eyeshadow, if you like. The base, the scaffolding, the foundation. Not foundation, that's a different product altogether. Right, next we're going to go in with a bit of this green, and I am going to use, rather than a brush, I'm going to use my little finger. Get a little bit on my finger like that, and I'm going to start from the middle of the eyelid and just gently tap some of that colour onto sort of the centre and into the inner corner a little bit. I think this gives a more gentle version of the colour. It diffuses it a little bit more than if you put it on with a flat shader brush. And because it's so bright, I feel like, being not as young as I used to be, a more subtle way of wearing it is probably better than full-on in-your-face brightness. I really like that. It's very pretty. It's a really nice green. It's not too sparkly. I was worried it was going to be a little bit too sparkly when I first used it, but it's actually not. It's a really nice, fairly bright, but not too in your face version of green. I feel like this one is not as bright as the other. Let's do that. Right, I like that. I think that. Next, I'm going to get a big fluffy brush again, and I'm going to go with this purpley one, and just a very gentle dab into that and a jolly good blow, and I'm going to do a little bit on that outer corner of my eye and then pull it up just a very little bit. I don't want this to be too purpley. I just want there to, I'm going to go over it again, I just want there to be a hint of this pinky purple colour in the background. So all over that, what they call the outer V generally, YouTubers, but it's not really a V when you get older. I find just dabbing and then blending gets me the best results. If I try and do a V, I find I can very often drag it down, and that's not what I want to do. So I'm just going to dab that onto that outer area. And remember, you can always go back and get more, but once you've put it on, it's very difficult to take it off. So with these bright colours, go steadily and slowly is probably the best advice. Right, so that is showing up on camera way better than it is in real life actually. So you've got your green and you've got your pink. Now I am going to choose I'm going to go back to the Kat Von D palette, I think, and I'm going to go with this sort of darker mid-tone brown than my, oh sorry I just wobbled you, that's my original one that I used in the crease. So I'm going a shade darker than that. I'm going with that middle one there. And again, on the same fluffy brush as I used the pink, so you've still got a hint of pink. I'm going to go over that area again. Not quite as high as I did the pink. I'm going to leave the pink sort of poking through in that area, so you get that hint of pink, but darkened up with the brown. And again, I'm just dabbing all over that area, and then I'll double check what it looks like. It's looking very bright on camera to you. The light isn't what it could be. It looks, if you feel like you've got a harsh line and it won't blend out, a good tip is to get a skin colour. So maybe like that, or a shade darker, maybe even this one, and just get a little tiny bit of that onto your brush and go along that top line to blend that together. I could even have gone a shade lighter than that. That just really helps if you feel like you've got a line that you can't get rid of and it's not as diffused as you'd like it to be. That is a good tip. Right, that is sort of the top area of the eye done. But I'm now going to go under the eye, and I'm going to get that same little stumpy brush that I used yesterday. And I'm going to go with the same mid-brown. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to do it the other way around. I'm going to get a eyeshadow brush like that, like the one I showed you yesterday that I put on my eyelid, but this is a shorter one, but it's thicker than my stumpy brush. And I'm going to go into the pink, the purple. Sorry, it's hard to show you things when I'm this close up. Like that. Going to blow it, tap it, and I'm going to go, sorry, I've just got to look down into the mirror for this one, under my eye, gently with that pink, about 2/3 of the way across. And that just gives you a real pop of colour under there. Right, now we're going to go with the stumpy brush, and we're going to go back into that brown from in here, which I think was this one, or was it this one? I can't remember. It was this one, wasn't it? help if I remember what I'm doing. And I'm going to go over the pink line, but this is going to be a more precise line because of the nature of the brush. So you will still have hints of pink. The idea is you get a darker line, but you have a hint of the pink. I'm just going onto that top lid as well a little bit with that. A hint of the pink coming out underneath or through the darker brown. I'm going to do my line under my top eyelashes, my tight line, with a black and the little thin brush, and I'm going to put my mascara on, and then I'm going to come back to you. Right, that's the final look. I just wanted to show you one final thing. This colour, I am going to go in with one of these sponge applicators that used to come with eyeshadow back in the day, and just to highlight this inner corner. I very often do this. You can do it with a shimmer, but you can equally do it with a matte, and I just find these are nice, quiet and precise for going sort of into that inner corner, just like that. I hope this is focusing well. I can't see this close up without my glasses if it's focusing as it should. And I feel like that just gives a little bit of brightness, an added bit of brightness. Right, let's lift you up, zoom you out. God, I look better zoomed out than I do zoomed in. And the final look. Here it is. I hope you like it. I think it's just a really nice, easy way of wearing really bright colours, but with a little more subtlety as I get older. I don't want to miss out on the bright colours. I still want to be able to wear them, but you wouldn't think that you could get away by looking at that eye palette with a pink and green, or I wouldn't, but it is a good way of doing it. Good morning, welcome to day 3 of Bright Colours for Over 50s on Our Eyes. That was not a catchy title, was it? I'll have to work on the title. Today we're going to be doing purpley lilac look. I think purples and lilacs, sorry, I've got really runny eyes and a really runny nose, and I don't know why this morning. I think purples are lovely colours for blue, green, grey eyes, really flattering for all the colours across that spectrum, and it's a colour that I really like wearing. So let me zoom you in and we can make a start. Oh, I don't like that as it zooms in. Right, instead of using, I feel like you're a little bit low there. Okay, instead of going in with the mid-brown tone today, I'm going to use a mid-purpley tone, and it's this one here. Going to use that as the crease colour. Same brush as yesterday, and same, what's the word I'm looking for? Same line. No, that's not the word I'm looking for. Same brush, same thing, into the crease, and on me I'm pulling it up a little bit from the crease because I have hooded eyes. If you don't have hooded eyes, you don't need to do this. Although I think as we get older, we all do suffer from some level of hooded eyes. That's that. It's a little bit more noticeable than the mid-brown was, but that's fine. That's it's a slightly darker tone, so that's what we're going with for that. And then we're going to move on to the eyelid, and I'm going with, this is the Emily Edits Panel Revolution eye palette, the Once, and Emily Noel is one of my favourite YouTubers. I bought this as soon as it came out and I love it. It's such a lovely selection of colours, and I'm going to use this lilac-y, this shimmery pearlized sort of lilac colour, which is not as bright as it appears in the palette. So I'm going to use that again with the flat shader brush, the Sigma E50, 45 I think it is, the E20 something. Colour, I think you're getting it, it's looking a lot brighter to you than it looks in real life, but obviously I will move back at the end. It's a toss-up between having it very bright so you can see what I'm doing and what it looks like in reality. Right, I'm now going to move on to a dark purple shade, this one down here, As I said earlier in this video, I'm not recommending any particular colours, palettes, products for this video other than the ones I've specifically mentioned. In terms of eye colour for eyes, I think lots of eyeshadows are really good quality these days. You don't need to spend a fortune, and it's fun to experiment with different shades. So I'm not saying go out and buy all these different eye palettes at all. I'm just picking out colours that I use from what I have already. I'm going to use a big fluffy brush again with that purple, and I'm going to do pretty much the same as I did with the bright pink yesterday on that, just on that outer corner. I don't want to darken up the outer corner too much now. I don't want it to be too heavy, but I do want there to be just a little bit of difference, just to give my eye more shape and definition. So I think that's enough in terms of the darker colour there. I do tend to be a little bit heavy-handed, I find. I think so when I film, using heavier makeup doesn't notice so much from further away on camera, so you can get away with it more. But for an everyday look, I feel like I need to be a little bit less heavy-handed. So there we are. I've just darkened up that outer corner. That looks quite horrendous at the moment, doesn't it? So I'm going to take a clean fluffy brush. I'm going to use this big Real Techniques, I think this is. It's a big fluffy brush, very big and fluffy, but I love it for blending everything in. And again, I'm just going to really blend that darker colour on the lid into the lighter colour and along the top, just to get the shape and make sure there are no harsh lines. I feel like I'm repeating myself again. Not rocket science, is it, this eye makeup? All about the blending, really. I'm going to do with this, which is something I quite often do if I'm using a dark colour and I can't get the shape, is use a playing card, and I point it to the end of my, from the end of my eye upwards to the end of my eyebrow, and that gives me a line to work along. You saw me do this, I did it in a video recently where I was doing my makeup. I think I had it on speedy up, fast forward, but this does give me a line to work to. Sometimes I don't put this on till the end part of it because I find it can give me quite a harsh line if I use it when I'm putting the actual colour on. So that has given me a nice shape there. I'm quite pleased with that. I don't always use this technique, it's only if I feel I need to, but it also makes you realise how differently shaped your eyes are doing this. To go in with, again, actually let's try with the mid-tone. I'm going to go back to the mid-tone here that I used in the crease, and I'm going to use the stumpy brush for underneath my eye with that, and go under there like that, about halfway. Oh, just put an extra bit on there, didn't want to do that. About halfway across my eye there, and I'm going to go just on the outer, probably again halfway across, just on top there with that colour, just for definition again. Yeah, I feel like that mid-tone is a better fit here than the very dark purple that I've used for the outer corner. Apologies if I've moved. My camera just ran out of memory card, so I had to go and put a new one in. I think it continued filming up till the end of what I was doing. I do hope so, haven't checked yet. But I'm just going to go off camera and do my upper tight line, black line, and my mascara, and I will come back and show you the final look. Right, that brings us to the end of today's look and the end of this video. I hope you found it useful. I hope maybe if you are a older lady like myself and not confident with using colour on your eyes, this will give you a bit of impetus to go and explore it a little bit. And so yeah, thanks very much for watching, and I will see you again in the next one. Bye bye.